Jason Citron, CEO of Discord, explores the platform's unique position in the online world. Unlike traditional social networks, Discord offers a private space for communities centered around shared interests like gaming, AI, and fandoms. Citron discusses Discord's shift from voice chat to a comprehensive social hub, emphasizing a future focused on intimate community-driven experiences. He also addressed challenges such as content moderation and the decision against selling to Microsoft, highlighting the platform's ongoing adaptation and focus on gaming and user-generated content. He thinks the internet is going to get narrower as young generations spend the majority of their time on specific platforms. That and many more stories tonight. You're listening to Geek News Central, episode 1739, coming to this Monday, April 22nd. I'm your host, Todd Cochran. A big shout out to our primary sponsor at GoDaddy.com. Grab their deals at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. And to all of our awesome listeners, you're the real MVPs. Contribute your time, talent, or treasure at geeknewscentral.com/insider by becoming a GNC Insider. We are live and lit with modern podcast apps from podcastapps.com. Join the value for value movement by downloading and using a modern podcast app. You can dive into our digital hub at geeknewscentral.com. When you get over there, don't forget to follow or subscribe to the podcast. Of course, you check out our partner shows, all linked at geeknewscentral.com. And again, you get signed up for the newsletter as well while you're there. You can always join our chat room as well. Our chat room is at geeknews.chat. If you have feedback today, you can email me directly, geeknews@gmail.com, or catch me on X at geeknews. Of course, you can find me on Facebook. And a massive salute to GoDaddy. Again, the longest running continuous sponsor of a podcast. We want to thank you for their ongoing long-term support. You can save large at GoDaddy. Get over to geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. Lock in your savings. $11.99 for a new domain name, or $6.99 a month economy hosting. $6.99 a month economy hosting, or $12.99 a month to manage WordPress hosting. Both of those offers include a free domain, professional email, and an SL certificate for the first year. You can also get signed up for a free trial of GoDaddy Website Builder, your choice of personal, business, or business plus plans. That's a 1-month free trial. Savings are really limitless over there. Use my promo codes, lock in your savings, get over there and check the products out. Of course, if you're not looking for hosting or domain name, I've got another promo code at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy that you can use. Give me credit where credit is due. And we definitely appreciate it when you use my promo codes over there. It's just like writing a check. When you share a GoDaddy promo code, we share my website, share the link. Just again, it's like just send me a check donation to the show. So definitely share the link with your friends and family, people that you know, and let's use that 7 degrees of separation to get more folks to use the GoDaddy product codes I have for you to lock in your savings. Again, thank you for GoDaddy for being a longtime sponsor here at Geek News Central. So on Friday, after I finished up work, and my team only works until noon on Friday, I started the process here of doing a major upgrade to the network infrastructure. I told you that I had really fallen pretty hard for the Unify product line by Ubiquiti. And so what I've installed here is, and it's really not that fancy in all regard. I bought a Dream Machine, a Unify Dream Machine, and I bought a 24-inch layer 3, not 24-inch, 24-port layer 3 switch, along with the fiber interconnect that goes between the Dream Machine and everything else. And I bought one Ubiquiti, basically Wi-Fi station. I guess that's the best way to call it. It's called the U7. And what it really took the most time, believe it or not, was pulling because the Wi-Fi router was in the office, and I had to pull the LAN cable back about 30 feet in the ceiling, reroute it, drop it down, bring it into the box that has the TriCast and everything else in it, along with the old switch. And then once that was pulled back, and a couple of all other small changes, identifying some networks, because within this building I have a network switch on the other end where the video editing station is. I've got a switch over here on the wall, really determining where those switches are so I could get them in the right port, so I'd have things mapped the way I wanted it. And it went fast. It really did. Within about 2 hours, the network was back up running. I started tweaking things, identifying hardware, turning stuff on slowly, reassigning cameras to VLANs and a whole bunch of other stuff. And basically, by about 5 o'clock on Friday, we were 3 VLANs in, got everything set up, and I feel today that I am about 10 times as secure as I used to be. And it's just a beautiful thing to be able to touch a device real easily from wherever I'm at in the world. And it's really and that investment was about $1,300 to do that upgrade. And meanwhile, I've got a great router still that I'm going to use in another area back at the house, not in my house, but essentially in the barn, and be able to get good Wi-Fi out in that building. Even though we've already got an older router out there, I just replace it with a good one. It just makes things that much better. So I'm pretty pleased with the overall migration to UniFi, and call me a super fan at this point. It really is an awesome system, awesome way to look at it, be able to look at the network, see what's driving. I mean, I can look now and see what's driving traffic, what isn't. It really gives me this detailed synopsis of what's happening here. And surprisingly, we've got about 40 devices that are connected to the system wired, which shouldn't come as a surprise. And also probably a handful of Wi-Fi devices. So the Wi-Fi connectivity here, we've never had a lot of devices. I've got most of the systems connected hardwired. And that's just kind of the way I like it, especially when you're streaming. It's not good to do. And one computer that we have never had wired was the audio streamer, and that's still running over Wi-Fi. So keep an eye on that. But overall, I'm pretty pleased with the overall upgrade here in the studio, and speeds are faster, definitely a lot faster. You can tell we're on basically almost an enterprise level system, but designed for home and small businesses, and pretty awesome. I may have a few pieces of gear to sell because I got a couple of switches now that I don't need anymore. So I'll let you know if I put those online, if you guys are looking for some network gear. But anyway, here we are, and let's go ahead and get into the stack of content we've got today. Interesting lineup of articles. And the reason I led with this Discord CEO, he did an interview with another podcast, and Decoder was the podcast he was on. And the reason I wanted to talk about this is he's making the case for smaller, more private internet. And in some instances, I agree with his analysis. In other instances, I worry. Now, Discord, many of you probably have a Discord account. I have one. I don't spend a lot of time on Discord, to be quite honest with you, because it's largely over the mobile phone. Um, I don't know. I still worry about this consolidation of power. Facebook has already done a huge part of that. Twitter, all these social platforms, Instagram, wherever you may hang your hat as your primary social network of choice, LinkedIn. There's a lot of concentration of traffic around, let's say 10 sites. Is that a good thing in the world we live in today? I maintain, and I still feel it's true based upon what I see coming into the Geek News Central website, the investment that we make monthly for writing, putting new articles up is a good investment, and it brings traffic to the website. And it still is a benefit to us from a business standpoint. And things may change with AI, but I just cannot give up of having my own place to hang my own hat. Even though it's you, those of you that are listening to the show are the large ones that are making reoccurring visits to the website. New people coming in via search traffic, discovering the show, following or subscribing. It's a big part of the way that I have maintained and continue to build this audience over many, many years. So that isn't the word I want to use, but essentially what we have is, even though it's informal, on geeknews.chat, on the Slack channel, which there's still activity on the Slack channel, on the website, we have a small community. And one thing that we've never been able to do here is coalesce all of you into a specific point to converse with one another. And this is one of the reasons why that I have basically been promoting the Podcasting 2.0 stuff so fervently. It's not just the value for value stuff. It's all the other features that we're adding that are starting to become more and more adapted, or starting to expand, where you will be on one app. Let's say you're on Fountain, and you make a comment about the show in Fountain, and it's going to show up on 4 or 5 other apps. And you get feedback from within the community within those apps. You stay on the app because that's where you want to consume the content, which I'm 100% for. But there's some new ideas coming out that makes me very excited. I'm hoping this comes to fruition, and within 2 or 3 months, I can incentivize all of you to listen to the show. And I can super incentivize you to listen to the ad spots. So, many of you have heard the GoDaddy spot for a while, but what if I said, hey, I'm going to give you X number of dollars every time you listen to the show? If you listen all the way through the GoDaddy ad, you're going to earn a little bit of extra money by not hitting forward 30 seconds or 60 seconds. And what if I incentivize you to listen to this show and earn money to listen to this show? This is kind of a equal pot. I have the ability here, with the budget that I have, to be able to help promote what this ecosystem in podcasting is going to and moving towards by incentivizing you to earn money. And ultimately, what we wanted it to be is completely transparent, so that even though I might be paying you in sats, you will ultimately see that in your wallet as dollar signs and be able to cash that out or donate to another show. So if we get this continue to build out, what will happen is other shows can promote you to listen, and then the shows that can't afford you to promote you to listen, then the money you earn from shows like mine will be able to, at some point, you'll be able to donate to another show. We'll spread the wealth and build the ecosystem together. And then there'll be instances where if you want to donate back to the show, you can. We'll see how this ends up developing over time. But essentially, it's Satoshi's back. Instead of you giving me sats, streaming on a per minute basis, which you could still do. Those of you that are skeptical, we'll work to incentivize you to say, listen, hey, you get paid to listen to the show. What podcast has said that? So while you are in this ecosystem of podcasting, I'm sure you're using a variety of apps. Matter of fact, I see what apps you're using. I know Overcast is a big favorite. Pocket Cast is a big favorite. Now, Pocket Cast is bringing some podcasting 2.0 functions to you. But I don't want the internet to turn into this smaller, more private. I want us to work as a community of listeners, community of podcasters, community of app developers, that all the ecosystem gets paid. So I know I've been talking about this podcasting 2.0 stuff for a while, but I'm living and breathing this, and I have to drink my own Kool-Aid. And I was looking for a way, and I've often said, if you're on Fountain, send me your Fountain address. I'll send you sats. Just send me an email, geeknews@gmail.com. Tell me what your Fountain address is, and I'll send you some sats that you can use with Fountain to donate to other shows. That's not an idle thing. And yet, not a single listener of this show has asked for free money, which blows me away. If you know, I guess I appreciate it that you're not asking me for money, but you haven't asked for any sats to share with other shows. So I don't know if you saw a $5 bill laying on the ground, would you pick it up and spend it? I think you would. Probably a $20 bill you would, and maybe $100. What's been interesting is the sats that I have earned over the past year or so have doubled in value because the price of Bitcoin has went up. So maybe the $5 that I give to you in Satoshis, because we just had the halving hap, so now Bitcoin is being created at a lower rate than ever was. So as supply and demand is going to go up, the price of Bitcoin could continue to rise. And that $5 might become 10 or 20 or 100 at some point just by listening to the show. So grab that Fountain app, and let's not have a more private internet. Let's build a community together. So enough on that. Audacity's been around for a long time, but Audacity 3.5 isn't released. Audacity is a popular open source audio editing platform, and they've just released a whole bunch of new features. So if you're an Audacity user, grab that update for sure. Also, here is your value back for the day. If you've been sitting on the side and haven't bought any of this cheap SSD, you need to move now. Solid state drive prices are going up, and PCS storage is going up. So it was best to buy like last November, as we talked about in the show, October, November. It's gone up a little bit, but if you haven't moved, you better act sooner rather than later. And according to Taiwan analyst company TrendForce, storage makers Western Digital and now Seagate have sent letters to customers warning them that the companies will be raising prices on hard drives. Western Digital's letter said it would be raising prices on SSD as well. Western Digital sent a similar letter earlier this month, warning that it is seeing higher than expected demand across its entire flash and hard drive portfolio, resulting in supply constraints where there wasn't one before. So, as an example, hard drive prices are typically a fraction of the price of an SSD. A 1 terabyte external Seagate hard drive is currently at $60 on Amazon, while a quality Western Digital 1 terabyte external SSD is $109. These prices could go up. And if you've got some projects going on, some sort of, home NAS, some little mini NAS, travel NAS, whatever it may be, SSD prices are going to go up. And might be time. And again, hard drive prices. I am still got spinning hardware here in two Synologies. One acts as a 2-drive time machine. The other one is a 5-drive box that I'm sitting at about 70% storage limit. So at some point, I've got to start putting in some bigger drives. So I'm probably going to invest in some 22 terabyte drives, which are not bad right now, believe it or not. If you think about that, I can't buy 5 of them, but I might be able to buy 2 and basically have some spare hard drives here. Maybe you don't need a 22 terabyte storage device, but they're pretty cheap right now. And if you've got a small NAS and you buy 2 of those, or let's say you have a 2-drive NAS, you've got the ability now to have 22 terabytes on a single in a single NAS if you want redundancy. My 5-drive that I have, it's striped in such a way that I can lose a single drive and not have a problem. As long as I replace that drive, it rebuilds, and then the other 4 drives are good. So for me, drive health is really important. And on my NAS, since I've been in here, I have had 1 hard drive fail. When I go away for several months at a time, that machine is going to sit cold because I don't want a drive going bad while I'm gone and then cause an issue. And then all of a sudden we start having subsequent failures. I'm not here to hear the beep, beep, beep of sticking a new drive in me. And I do have a brand new drive sitting right on top of the Synology waiting to be popped in at any time. Maybe storage isn't your thing, but prices are going to go up. So there's your value for the day that you need to make that jump if you need to. Moving on, NASA's found mutant bacteria thriving in space. Researchers discovered 13 strains of bacteria called Enterobacter bugundensis. Oh my God, that's linked to blood infections. In other words, it's the same type of bacteria that causes sepsis. So, yep, up there in space, the people that are coming up were not as clean as they needed to be. And I hate to use that word, but, they brought bacteria with them. Hey, we did have a number of people that did stream sats. Again, I want to thank Darren Schwartz for his donation. And those of you that have been streaming sats as well, Darren's been streaming sats. Who else? I'm going back here a couple of days ago. Dave Jones streaming sats, Papa HD streaming sats. So those have been streaming sats on the show. I definitely appreciate it a great deal. And no new boosts have come in since the last show, though. And if you're not an insider yet, definitely consider becoming one. geeknesscentral.com/insider. Tip line that guards against child sexual abuse images may struggle against AI. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children is already having a hard time following up on reports. The report said the first defense against CSAM on the internet already struggles to handle the high volume of calls it receives, according to the center. Listen to this. A tip line received 36.2 million CSAM reports in 2023, a 12% increase from 2022. The rise of AI would only make things worse. The tip line received reports from online platforms like Facebook and Google through manual reporting. But this API doesn't ensure all important fields are filled out. They also note the content moderation staff turn over quickly in tech companies, so there's usually no consistency in reporting. The nonprofit center, which gets a large part of its budgets from Congress, often lower salaries than other trust and safety teams within the industry, so it's a hard time retaining staff, but also trouble integrating with external data sources using different platforms. So with the increase of abuse images that are just amazing. That's amazing. 36.2 million images, reports. That's an incredibly high number. I would have never have guessed they got that many reports. I don't know what those reports entail, if there's multiple reports from one platform or what. But yeah, disturbing to say the least. Apple's reportedly plans an M4 Mac Mini for late 2024 or early 2025, skipping the M3. This would be a faster turnaround time than we saw for the M3 or M2, but apparently M4 chips for Mac are coming sooner rather than later. Apple could completely skip the M3 generation for some Macs, most notably the Mac Mini. They don't have specific. The individual here, Gurman, says Mark Gurman says he doesn't have specific insider information confirming that Apple is planning to skip the M3, but based on Apple's alleged 2024 into early 2025 timeline for the M4 Mini, he believes it's probably safe to say there's not enough space on the calendar for an M3 to be released between now and then. I'm a big Mac Mini fan. 1, that's my primary machine right here. 2, 3, right there. And then old machines, as we take shows off the line, we upgrade other. I got one Mac Mini in the back in the production studio. It got retired on Friday. It was, it's like, almost falling over slow. I don't, it's more than 10 or 12 years old. So that one got retired, and I had one here that I took it off here last year that I put back there. So yeah. I'm also close to retiring my Apple trash can. I'm still encoding on it. But I have a used Mac Pro that's sitting right here that will encode faster than that box in the back. So at some point there'll have to be a switch out here at some point. Okay, moving on. Google Gemini AI app could soon let you sync and control your favorite music streaming services. Google's latest AI experiment is about to get a whole lot more use for thanks to support for third-party music streaming services like Spotify and Apple Music. Gemini's been running shifts all around different Google products, particularly as digital assistant. It's still somewhat limited compared to Assistant is not at the stage where it can fully replace Google. One of the limitations is that it can't list a streaming service of a user's choice to play a song or other audio recording like many popular digital assistants, including Google Assistant. So the tech blog, oh my God, I thought Piunika Web claim that Gemini is getting the feature and they have screenshots to back up their claim. So I don't know. I have put my own playlist. I don't need an AI controlling my audio app. That's not something that would be functional for me at all. And the weirdest story of the day, and of course, Happy Earth Day, Ecosia launches the world's first energy-generating browser. The more you browse, the more clean energy gets sent to the grid. Okay, now, when I read this, I'm like, what kind of a PR thing is this? Nonprofit search engine Ecosia has launched the greenest browser on Earth as it seeks to offer customers a more sustainable alternative to Google Chrome or Apple Safari. Just like the Ecosia search engine, I don't know about that. The more you use the browser, the more trees you will help plant. The Berlin company says it already planted 200 million trees since 2009. The new browser will be powered by renewable energy from Ecosia's own solar farm. In fact, the company says the browser actually generates green energy 25 watt-hours per use each day they browse. That's enough to power a light bulb. Now, how do they do this? I'm using my power to use the browser. No one's paying me. I'm not generating electricity. This must be a way for them to get green credits or something. I really don't get it. How does this actually do this? It has an inbuilt ad blocker that reduces user data and energy consumption. I don't believe that. That traffic's still hitting my machine, but the browser's blocking it. It's the traffic still happening. I don't understand this at all. I'm happy they're planting trees, but I really don't understand how this is an energy generating browser. I think it's just a little bit of tongue in cheek here. I really do. Are you a fan of Beats? Well, Beats is tipped to launch a new Bluetooth speaker after LeBron James flaunts a mysterious device. And basically, they got a picture of it. U.S. basketball star LeBron James has been part of Beats history, during which time he's also been known to leak upcoming products. It looks like he may have done it again, maybe on purpose. The NBA legend was captured with what appears to be a brand new and unreleased Bluetooth speaker in a reel posted to Instagram. I'm sure he got paid for that. By the LA Lakers. In it, you can clearly see the pill-shaped speaker has a Beats logo, and it's on a lanyard, which is something the most recent Beats Pill speaker didn't have. We know that the Beats Pill Plus was killed off in 2022. So, things like this are not done arbitrarily. He's got a promotion contract, I'm sure. So, people get really excited for a lot of weird stuff. And I don't get excited for LeBron James carrying a speaker. You know how many Bluetooth speakers are on the market? Tens of thousands. Archaeological study of Cape Canaveral's first rocket launch site expands to 3D mapping. And you think archaeological mapping at Cape Canaveral? Well, this is interesting. Apparently, in the 50s, there was a building that was used to launch the first rocket. And archaeologists have been digging up the trail to that building, which is long gone because it was a wooden structure, and a wooden structure in Florida, with hurricanes and everything, don't last too long. But they've been using a handheld optical scanner to create a 3D digital map of a newly excavated steel mat corridor that led into the long demolished Bumper Blockhouse, and which was first used in July 24th, 1950. There's very few pictures or anything of that building, but this gentleman from the University of South Florida, a 3D's applicationeer, aims a structured light scanner at the recent matting, and they're mapping this out. Bumper 8 was a groundbreaking 62-foot experimental two-stage rocket, a German V-2 rocket mated with a US WAC Corporal rocket. The sand-protected blockhouse featured a periscope-like window with reflective mirrors so technicians could see the pad. So, anyway, very, very interesting. And, there's the building. You saw the original picture with the dirt being dug up. So, I guess that is considered archaeological significant. Not like they're going to find any mummies in there or anything like that. So who knows, A Russian court has sentenced a Meta's spokesperson to 6 years in jail in absentia. It's calling Meta an extremist organization. A military court in Moscow sentenced Meta spokesperson Andy Stone to 6 years in prison for publicly defending terrorism, a verdict handed down in absentia, the RIA news agency reports. So I would not let Andy get anywhere near any place that he could be extradited to Russia. So probably stay out of Cuba, definitely stay out of Russia. And I don't even know if he's safe in any of the old satellite states because, they might get sucked up there, even though probably he would be okay. But, yeah. Apple's been named a top 2024 pick by the Bank of America ahead of key earnings. So they're the ones that saying this company has a rich catalyst path with defensive cash flows, who has a buy rating and a 220 price target on the stock. Apple shares rose 0.5% on Monday. The stock is coming off its lowest close in about a year, as well as a 5-day drop of 6.5 cents that erased $180 billion from its market cap. The stock market is down 14% this year, making it one of the weakest performers among mega cap technology companies. The stock's been pressured by concerns over growth, especially for the iPhone and key China market. Separate, Morgan Stanley trimmed its price target on the stock to 210 from 220 on Monday, expecting Apple to give a disappointing forecast. I think everyone's got a tight forecast. I wouldn't bet on the economy right now. Meanwhile, the president traveled to Virginia to mark Earth Day. He's unveiling $7 billion in grant funding for solar power under Inflation Reduction Act, announces new steps to stand up the administration's American Climate Corps. The announcement comes days, now listen to this for those of you paying $3.80 for gas like I am. The announcement comes days after the administration made several significant announcements, including banning oil drilling in nearly half of the National Petroleum Reserve. Under the Environmental Protection Agency Solar for All program, the administration announces funding awards to states, territories, tribal governments, municipalities, and nonprofits to develop long-lasting solar programs that are targeted towards the communities and people who need them. Again, we're walking away from renewables, and we're going towards renewables. Sorry. I don't think there's just enough. With AI, let's be very, very frank here. AI needs gargantuan amounts of power. And if you like AI, the only way AI is going to grow is if the data centers that are built are going to be allocated gargantuan amounts of power. Not enough solar can be built to supply this gargantuan amount of solar. So why in the world does not this country once again embark on nuclear power? We know we're going to need more power. We're going to need a lot of power. It's been many years since we brought a new nuclear plant online. I think it's really stupid not to have embraced nuclear power in a big, big way. You can build nuclear power safely. There are safe ways to build nuclear power. But yet, this country considers nuclear to be like the worst thing ever. I worked near a nuclear power plant when I lived in Maryland. One thing that was interesting is the state of Hawaii. I'm grandfathered. My house in Hawaii is grandfathered, where I get a 1-for-1 trade on electricity. So every ounce of solar that I put in the grid, I get a 1-for-1 equal trade. If I have excess, the state or the electric energy company grabs that kilowatt hours and basically they get it for free. They get extra electricity. And when I was living in a house, I didn't get the state any extra electricity, but this year they did. But Hawaii's changing their situation now, where I saw a bill of a person from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. peak power. They are charging consumers in Hawaii now 76 cents a kilowatt. 76 cents a kilowatt. During peak time when you're home doing dishes, cooking dinner, watching TV, 76 cents a kilowatt. And we got a bill comparison and asked, hey, you want to switch to this new plan? And I said, not a chance in this world. You don't bring any new plan on that's going to help me. And it's unbelievable what they've changed to in Hawaii. And the people in Hawaii have just rolled over like little puppies and allowed the government the government agencies that allowed them to switch this plan to stick their hands in their pockets. 76 cents a kilowatt from 5 to 9 p.m. Absolute brutal billing. The price of electricity is already at a record high, 36.7 cents a kilowatt for the rest of the time. So I'm putting more in the grid that's being used, and it's just amazing. It really is. They know they're going to get their money one way or the other. So put your own solar on your own home, invest in your own batteries. That's my suggestion. I'm a solar advocate for home solar. And it's a big investment up front, but you're good for 20 years. Now, my solar panels have been on the roof now for over 10. And I'm watching, I can get on the system right now and look and see what it's, how much power it's generating. And I'm still generating about 39, 38 kilowatts a day from 36 panels. So, look at your bill. And maybe you live in an area where electricity is cheap, but with all this solar stuff being put on, it's not going to remain that way. This is not cheap electricity. It's cheap to generate and put it on the grid, but they're going to want their billions of dollars of investment back by charging you higher electricity prices. Germany arrests trio accused of trying to smuggle naval military tech to China. Again, spies. The three individuals in question were not fully identified. So Germany's got 3 spies on their hands that were basically given data to the Chinese. Transferring dual-use technology equipment to China violates Germany's Foreign Trade Act as well as the EU dual-use regulation, but they did it anyway. So these 3 individuals are going to be in trouble. And again, string them up high. EU opens probe of TikTok Lite. We talked about this on the last show. And again, this is a second formal investigation. And of course, our U.S. House is doing everything they can to kill TikTok. Google Drive just got a handy search upgrade for Android users. This already came for iOS. It appears now the search filters are starting to appear in Google Drive for Android. The filter categories can be found right below the in-app search bar and include things like file type, owner, and last modified. So last modified has always been big help to me in mobile. The Canes Hospital cancels medical procedures following a cyber attack. Another hospital. Also known as the Brussels Hospital, the healthcare organization decided to completely cut off computer access to contain the attack. The hospital says it's making offers to ensure they can provide full range of care across its fields. I guess what's Cannes is in France, right? So CH.SV is the 840 bed in Cannes, France, employing more than 2,000 people. So another healthcare facility cyber attack. Verizon is posting fewer quarterly subscriber losses on flexible plan demand. So the telecom firm lost 68,000 monthly billing wireless phone subscribers between January and March, a seasonally soft period for the industry just after the holiday. That compared with an estimated loss of 100,000 according to FactSet versus a loss of 127,000 in the first quarter of 2023. The internet company said the last month, the majority of its customers are opting for its premium customizable My Plan option, which has resonated well with consumers. So we're going to start seeing a lot more earnings report coming out. We already covered this on the last show, but NASA's seeking a new way to bring Mars rocks to Earth. So I'll cover this one here. It's a little more about the program they're proposing. Also, it's being rumored that Sony may merge with Paramount Plus. And of course, they're going to have to. They're going to have to start, these things are going to have to start tightening up. We can't all afford to have multiple plans. But that could be spell bad news for Netflix. Kind of interesting. Over the weekend, I got on Amazon Prime. I'm sorry. That's about the worst movie offering. Netflix is definitely beating Amazon Prime on movie offerings because I barely could find anything to watch. And to be honest with you, a lot of the Netflix stuff right now, I get about 10 minutes in, it's just moving. Maybe it's because I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos, but these plots move so slow. Keep it coming. Keep the story moving. And it's just, it just drives me crazy. If you're a Proton Mail user, paid users will now get alerts if their info has been posted on the dark web. Dark web monitoring aims to help users resecure their accounts before any harm is done. And they're going to keep basically paid users will get a notification. I guess it doesn't cost anything more. Dark web monitors tend to be a proactive security measure. So if you're using Proton Mail and posting on websites or using it for your accounts, they'll let you know. Again, talk a little bit about TikTok, but the U.S. House passed a fresh TikTok ban proposal to the Senate. Sadly, no push to end stupid TikTok dances, but ByteDance will have up to a year to offload the app in the United States. And it passed 360 to 58 votes. So equal number of Republicans and Democrats voted for this thing. If approved by the Senate, legislation would force ByteDance, the owner of TikTok, to sell its U.S. operation within a year or see the platform banned. The Senate may vote on the consolidated bill as early as next week, and the president has previously indicated he would sign it. Do you think this is right or if this is wrong? Don't you like how we live in a nanny state now where the government wants to protect us from ourselves? It really is ridiculous. I'm pretty much over it. Meanwhile, a watchdog has told the Dutch government, do not use Facebook if there's an uncertainty about privacy. The Dutch Data Protection Authority has warned that the government organization should not use Facebook to communicate with the country's citizens unless they can guarantee the privacy of data. Wow. What are you worried about if you've opted in? Facebook pages might seem as a useful way for government departments to reach citizens. However, the platform is coming increasing fire over how users' data is handled. So, yep, data privacy, which we have none here in the United States. And a very, very serious follow-up to an app called Grindr. And this is really incredible. Grindr has been sued for allegedly sharing users' HIV status and offering info with ad companies. Wow. A lawsuit filed in London claims the data includes HIV statuses, test dates, ethnicity, and sexual orientation. According to class action suit, the alleged data sharing involved ad tech companies Localytics and Optimize. Grindr said to have supplied the companies with the user info before April 2018, and then between May 2018 and April 2020. In April 2018, Grindr admitted it shared HIV data with Optimize and Localytics following an investigation by BuzzFeed and Norwegian nonprofit Sintef. It said it would stop the practice. So it's pretty serious. Pretty serious. Pretty serious sharing people's medical information. So that's going to bring me to the end here. If you have comments about today's show, it's real simple. Real simple. geeknews@gmail.com. geeknews@gmail.com. It's been my pleasure to bring you a show. I hope that you'll consider becoming an insider or supporting our sponsor, GoDaddy. geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy or geeknewscentral.com/insider. Try one of these new podcast apps like I talked about in the beginning. We've been live and lit. And value for value, time, talent, or treasure. And again, we'd love to have people donate their time and talent. It's equally as valuable today. And someone wants to have with chapter files or anything like that, we can make that happen. Kirk doesn't always get to the chapter files for a few days and get them edited, but if you want to help, feel free to consider raising your hand and volunteering, even if it's on a temporary basis. Again, time, talent, and treasure. We definitely appreciate you for your ongoing support of the show. Be back with you on Thursday for another edition of the Geek News Center podcast. It's been my pleasure to bring it to you. Stay safe out there. Take care. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.